we'll call our meeting to order for our last meeting of the year.
Okay. District 1, Supervisor Alejo.
Here.
District 2, Supervisor Phillips.
Here.
District 3, Supervisor Lopez.
Here.
District 4, Supervisor Parker.
Here.
District 5, Supervisor Adams.
Yuri Anderson for Supervisor Adams.
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Here.
City of Delray Oaks.
Here.
City of Gonzales.
Here.
City of Greenfield.
Here.
City of King City. City of King City. City of Marina.
Present. Present.
City of Marina, present?
Yes.
Okay. City of Monterey,
Present.
City of Pacific Road,
Here.
City of Salinas, City of Sand City, City of Seaside,
Here.
City of Soledad, City of Soledad, Ambag,
Here.
Caltrans District 5,
Present.
Monterey Bay Air Resource District, Monterey Regional Airport District,
Here.
Monterey Salinas Transit,
Here.
City of Watsonville, CSUMB. Chair, we do have a quorum. I believe we have 3 absents.
Okay.
Chair, this is City of King. It cut off right when you started the meeting. I apologize, but I am present.
Yeah, I did get you because I seen your I seen you come in. Thank you. Mhm.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. I think if you could join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm trying to stand up and do my best. I pledge of allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's go to public comments. This is the time for the public to make any comments for items not on today's agenda. And if you could raise your hand on the participants button at the bottom of the screen so you could be recognized and speak up for up to 2 minutes. So I see we'll start with Grant Leonard. You will be unmuted and you could speak for 2 minutes, please. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Grant Leonard, former TAMC employee and current TAMC Bicycle Committee member. I wanted to talk today briefly about the Highway 156 Casperville Boulevard Interchange project. First of all, a big thank you to Bill Monning, who's in the audience today, for getting the Salamander bill passed so that we can proceed with permits for the project. And then also want to comment on the press release from November 17th that the CTC is recommending awarding $20 million to complete construction of the project. So I think that's great news for our area. And I want to thank staff for working so hard on that. I just have a question. With the majority of the funding for the interchange now coming from the state, 20 million, does staff have an idea what the remainder of the Measure X portion of the funding for 156 will go to now? Or do we have a sense of how that will be decided going forward? We definitely want to make sure that funding stays on the corridor. There's a lot of work to be done there. So just want to remind the board of that and to see if we have any plans for the remainder of the Measure X funding for 156.
All right, thank you for your comments. and we'll have staff answer at the end. Let's see if there's any other members of the public who would like to comment. If they could raise your hand. I see no other hands raised. So Debbie or staff, is there any, you want to give a quick response to the question, please?
Sure. As we move through the Measure X program of projects, when we are successful in getting funding above and beyond what we need in order to construct projects essentially earlier than our Measure X cash flow, the speaker's correct that then there's an allocation of funding that's left over for another purpose. And the process is for the board, with the concurrence of the Measure X Citizens Oversight Committee, to make recommendations on how to spend that funding. The first use of the funding is towards existing projects that perhaps might have gone over budget or might have been underfunded. And the second is for projects, I believe, in the similar area. And then the third is for new projects that might come up. And at this point, we have been taking it cautiously for the Impton Parkway project, for instance. We're not utilizing all the Measure X money, but we're keeping that funding in hand should there be cost overruns or bids that are higher. So eventually, the board will be able to weigh in on where that funding goes to.
Thank you for that response.
Chair and Debbie, could I just add one comment?
Go ahead.
The Blackie Road extension is part of that same component of the Measure X regional project that the Casperville Boulevard Interchange comes from. So we are working with the county to proceed with that project, and we don't yet have a fund estimate of how much that one will cost. So after that's done, we follow a procedure that Debbie outlined.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, see no other public comments. We're gonna close public comment. Let's go to our next item, which is consent agenda, item number 3. We have one item to pull. Debbie, what item number is that? This is for the nominating committee.
That'll be 3.1.4.
Okay, we'll put 3.1.4. There was the thing, I believe the staff report indicated Mike LeBear of King City would serve on the nominating committee with me. We want to change that to Greenfield, Council Member Angelo Talone, another South County city to serve on the nominating committee. That's the only recommended change on that one. But is there any other items that the board would like to pull?
And just to clarify, Mr. Chair, there was a typo in the staff report that showed Board Member Phillips and Board Member Orozco. That was just a typo from last year. So
okay, correction noted. Anyone else? Okay, could I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with those changes? We're swapping Councilmember Angelo Talone instead of King City Mayor Mike LeBear.
So moved. Second, Phillips.
Okay, moved by Mayor Potter, seconded by Supervisor Phillips. Okay, if there's no other discussion, we can take a roll call, please. Roll call, roll call vote.
Yes. District 1, Supervisor Alejo.
Aye.
District 2, Supervisor Phillips.
Aye.
District 3, Supervisor Lopez.
Aye.
District 4, Supervisor Parker.
Aye.
District 5, Supervisor Adams.
Aye from Anderson.
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Aye.
City of Del Rey Oaks.
Aye.
City of Gonzales.
Aye.
City of Greenfield.
Aye.
City of King City.
Aye.
City of Marina.
Aye.
City of Monterey.
Aye.
City of Pacific Grove.
Aye.
City of Salinas. City of Sand City. City of Seaside. Chair, the motion passes with the 14 to 17, 3 absent.
Thank you very much, Eloise. Appreciate that. Now we're going to go to item number 4. This is for our special guest here today. This is to approve a declaration of appreciation for Senator William W. Monning for his service on behalf of Monterey County Transportation. Bill Monning has served 2 terms as senator after serving 2 terms as assembly member representing Monterey County and Sacramento. His term ended yesterday, November 30th, 2020, or actually Monday. This declaration of appreciation celebrates the work that Senator Monning has done on behalf of transportation in Monterey County, including his recent authorship of his successful Senate Bill 1231. Senator Monning, Debbie's going to start, but we're really honored to have you with us, and we wanted to take a moment to reflect on your many years of work, not only in the legislature, but serving the people of Monterey County in your prior public service capacity. So we'll start with Debbie, then it'll come back to me, and then we'll open it up for some other comments by board members. Go ahead, Debbie.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, as I think back on your tenure, I remember when we were there for I believe it was even just the groundbreaking for the Highway 1 Salinas Road interchange. And I remember you reaching out to me and saying, you know, I want to make sure that these transportation safety projects happen. And that just really started the whole record of your participation in helping TAMC, Caltrans, and all of our cities and county to address transportation safety issues. From the 156 legislation, which we so appreciate you carrying, especially during a limited legislative session as we had this year, to your advocacy and strong support for Senate Bill 1, which created funding that has transformed transportation in our area, and to your eventual support, of course, for our Measure X project. We sincerely appreciate all of your leadership, all your participation in our groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings, and just your willingness to have your staff write letters of support whenever we needed them in order to get discretionary funding. We're just so appreciative of your leadership in all of our projects, and we thank you for your service and your dedication to transportation improvements in Monterey County.
Thank you, Debbie. And on my behalf as chair of the TAMC Board, Bill, wanted to just really thank you not only for being a good friend and a fierce advocate for Monterey County, but also just being one of the best public servants we've had in Monterey County history. You've always been accessible, carried out your work with a lot of dignity and passion, compassion for the least among us in our communities, but always making sure that we're always moving our local projects in terms of transportation forward. And certainly very appreciative of that during a challenging year where you could have picked, you only have to pick a few of your bills to move forward after the pandemic. You stayed true to our bill so that we can move that critical project in Casperville forward, moving forward. So I really wanted to commend you and also just applaud your leadership. You rose to the role, the big role, basically the lieutenant or general of the president of the Senate, but we haven't had a majority leader in the state Senate since Henry Mello until you came along. So that's not an easy thing to accomplish when you're dealing with 39. Sorry about that. What's going on? But when you're dealing with 39 other senators, but I just wanted to commend you and also just to thank you and your wife, Dana, for being a true partner with you and helping you do all the work. It's always, people always recognize the elected official many times, but it's also the family that supports you. And the many days that you're away from the office, the many weeks that you were up serving in Sacramento, we want to certainly thank you for your lifetime of work. Serving the Monterey Bay region. So with that, I think Supervisor Parker wanted to make some comments as well.
I'm always happy to say good things about Senator Monning, but I don't think I'm necessarily part of this lineup. Thanks. We do appreciate your service, and I look forward to seeing you around in the community and comparing notes about what retirement actually is.
Thank you. We'll open up to any other members of the board who would like to make any comments before we hear some words from Senator Monning. I'll recognize Supervisor Phillips, then Mayor Labar.
Yeah, I just thank you, Bill. Anytime we needed something and we were really in a jam and needed it, you were there, whether we were working on Forward, where we're working on the traffic project and what you did for us on 156 and SB1 is critical. So you're being recognized for your service in the Senate, but I've seen all your service all the way along, starting with CRLA and then law practice and then the law school, all the other things you've done for this community. So thank you for your years of service.
We'll go to Mayor Labar.
I agree with what everyone else has said, Senator Monning. I haven't had much interaction with you, but I would like you to know your style, the way you've represented people has influenced me. Your thoughtfulness, you listen, but you're also straightforward. So you've done a lot for the agency, but for those of us who are kind of new into this, you've also been a good representative of what it means to be a public servant. So I do want to thank you for that. And I appreciate to be able to learn in even a small way.
Thank you. Mike, let's go to Ed Smith.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Mr. Monty, you have been a man who has served in dignity and grace. And for Monterey, you have always been available to us. And I know our current mayor and our past mayors have always found you to be accessible. And on behalf of the entire city of Monterey City Council and Mayor, we thank you for your service. Congratulations on a phenomenal career, and we look forward to seeing you have a joyful retirement. And there is truly a life after those long trips to Sacramento. So you enjoy it, you deserve it. But thank you from Monterey.
Thank you. Let's go to Mayor Oglesby.
Okay, I just want to say quickly that I really appreciate, what Senator Monty has done in our community all the way from his first beginnings as an assembly member. And it goes without saying, but I want to make sure my thoughts were on the record for you, Senator Monty and Mr. Monty. As I think others said, you really deserve a rest. I don't think there's anyone else that's been working as hard for their area as you have over the last, I guess, at least 20 years, really pushing it. And I was really appreciative of your leadership in the state level as the majority leader. And always trying to make sure you were fair and consistent with your advocacy for all of Californians, particularly the people that you represented. So it's a well-deserved rest. I know you're going to take a break for a little bit, but you'll get back out there and try to figure out a way to help your community. But I want you to know, as far as the citizens in Seaside and anyone else, that we really appreciate you and thank you for all your work.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll go to Supervisor Lopez.
Senator Monning, I'm just going to echo all of the words that were shared today, but mostly I want to say thank you and congratulations and enjoy the retirement. I know that much like Supervisor Parker, you're not going away. So I look forward to continuing to work with you in whatever new capacities and journeys you pick in the future. And so I just want to say congratulations, enjoy the retirement, whatever that may look like, but look forward to continuing to work with you to better our communities.
Anyone else? If not, we're going to go to Senator Monty, and also really, Senator, we really appreciate your work and advocacy for us. It seemed like the years went by so fast. 12 years came and went, and to see your post the other day on social media really showed, wow, the time goes by fast, but a lot accomplished during your 12 years of service. So we'll pass it to you, Senator Monty.
Well, thank you so much, Chair Alejo and Director Hale and members. It's, as I said earlier, but I think before we were up live, it's a very distinguished board for TAMC, and I thank all of you for your service, not just to TAMC, but to your respective cities and agencies and boards. And certainly transportation, as Debbie mentioned, my philosophy and what I shared with my staff, the number one issue that we link transportation projects to is public safety. And certainly that was our guiding principle for the Casperville interchange legislation and funding, public safety, and people wanted to talk about the Santa Cruz red-legged salamander. And I said, you know, the bill's really not about the salamander. The bill is really about public safety, human safety, and the bill does include mitigation. And since it's a Santa Cruz red-legged salamander, I said maybe it needs to migrate back to Santa Cruz so that we can get to work on the interchange in Casperville. So, but that was also a team effort. The numbers of time that Debbie and other representatives from the county came to Sacramento, not just to meet with me, but more importantly, to testify in front of committees, to meet with other members, and to popularize what many would say was a local or a district issue, that it really went to the health of the state of California. Debbie mentioned Senate Bill 1, the transportation funding bill. That one was a big fight, and it's brought $5 billion a year to the highway improvement, again, public safety protection and improvements. My seatmate at the time, Senator Josh Newman, a veteran, was recalled because he voted for SB 1. And he was just reelected to the Senate this past November. So he's gonna return to the Senate to pursue his representation of the people of Orange County, LA and other parts. But certainly Senate Bill 1, public safety, also one of the biggest job creators right now. I won't say too much more. The ability to serve has been a privilege and an honor. I appreciate Chair Alejo mentioning my wife Dana, because as anyone who serves knows, it is a family, a team effort, and we get the accolades or the blame when our name is associated with a vote, but the family members are the ones that sacrifice and support in manners that aren't always seen. So from our days with the United Farm Workers Union, Dana and I have been collaborators, and she was always my secret weapon, particularly on public health and health issues. As I spoke with some degree of knowledge and familiarity in Sacramento, it was people that knew me knew where that wisdom was coming from all the time. As I move forward, I am going to catch my breath. We're focusing, as we mentioned earlier, on the immediate impacts of COVID to our communities, to our businesses, and advocating for support for farm workers and essential workers being at the top of the list for the COVID vaccine. I salute the Board of Soups for passing that. I've shared that resolution with other colleagues, former colleagues from the Senate, continuing members in the Senate, and I think for the health of our entire community. So I will take the opportunity to make a little pitch for that, but I'll just close by thanking all of you for your day-to-day work, your commitment to the people of Monterey County, your commitment to public safety, and there's no place that it is more manifest on a day-to-day basis than through our roads, our highways, our transportation system, our public transportation systems. So kudos to all of you. I think the TAMC board is perhaps one of the least recognized and appreciated of political entities, and yet the work you all do is paramount. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I do look forward to future collaboration and friendship with all of you. And let me wish you happy holidays. Be safe, be well. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Vermani. Can we give him a round of applause, virtual round of applause? Bill, we love you. Thank you for your work. And I know, take a little rest, and then I know we're going to pull you back in, or you're going to pull yourself back into public service somehow, some way. Christina Medina Dirksen, one of our new TAMC board members, wanted to say something. She raised her hand just before you started speaking, so I want to give her a chance. I don't want to diss our new board member here. Go ahead, Christina.
Thank you very much, Chair Alejo. Yes, I'm new representing the city of Marina, so I was trying to figure out the raise hand function. I just want to give my accolades to Senator Monning. Probably as the only person here, he was my law professor at law school, and I learned great things from him in the skills of mediation. And I think that's a strong point, is really bringing people to the table and finding common ground. So I just want to say thank you so much, Bill, for lighting the path for me personally. I'm here because of you, and I want to thank you for that. And I look forward to working with all of you and just keeping a little bit of Bill with us as we negotiate working together. So thank you very much. I appreciate everything you have done for me as a mentee, and as well as for our community as a resident of Monterey County for, boy, 25 years now, 24 years. So I just want to say thank you sincerely.
Thank you, Christina.
And sí se puede.
Se puede. And talking about mentors, Senator Monning was my seatmate my first year in this first couple of years in the assembly, and they would have always put somebody, a more senior member, to sit down with a newer member. And I appreciate your mentorship too, Senator Monning. And we'll make sure that when we do the groundbreaking of that interchange project that you get invited to that, because you were key to making it all happen. Thank you, Senator Monning. We're going to now move on to item number 5. This is to adopt certificates of appreciation for outgoing board members in recognition of their years of service on the transportation agency. Outgoing board members include Pacific Grove City Council member Robert Hewitt, Supervisor Jane Parker, Gonzalez Mayor Maria Orozco, and I believe also Salinas Council member Scott Davis. And we'll start with Debbie first.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. And for those of you that downloaded the agenda early, Council Member Scott Davis is not on it. But for those of you that downloaded it a little bit later, his resolution was in there. He's been on the TAMC board for 2 years, and yet during that time, he's been quite involved. He was an active member of the Rail Policy Committee, and he supported, of course, the Rail to Salinas and Salinas Station project. He interviewed Christina Watson on his podcast. He was there on TV. I did a little bit of a search, and he was there talking about the Frank's Fish Market sign and how maybe that would go up at the station. And he's been a strong contributor at TAMC board meetings, really came up to speed quite quickly. And we on the staff will miss having him around. I hear a rumor that we might get the new mayor, Kimberly Craig, back on the TAMC board, but we certainly appreciate the service and recognize what a ramp up it is to learn all about TAMC in 2 years. So I don't believe, unless he has come on in the last few minutes, that Councilmember Davis is here, but I do want to thank him for his service and his active engagement as a board member. If you'd like, Chair Alejo, I'll move down. I'm doing this kind of in reverse order of when folks joined the TAMC board. And I believe that I'm double checking here, but I believe that puts us to Supervisor Parker. Supervisor Parker has been very engaged in the TAMC board. She's been a member since 2009. She jumped right in and became a board chair in 2014, which means that she was on the executive committee for probably 4 years before that. She's been a strong supporter of the Imjin Parkway improvements, and we're pleased to say that project, cross our fingers, will start construction in next construction season in 2021. So really critical to have her support on that project. She's also, I remember doing an interview with her sitting at one of the Marina roundabouts, and her talking about how important roundabouts are for transportation safety. And I believe she really helped the city to adopt roundabouts as at the time was a new transportation safety measure. So I really appreciate her support for that technology, I suppose you could call it, design that is now being adopted throughout the county. She has been an advocate for active transportation, and I believe helped form the Fort Ord Trails Committee for the county, which was a precursor to the Fort Ord Regional Trail and Greenway, which is now moving forward with its first funded segment. So we appreciate her work in that regard. She's had an active staff that has been very involved with us in the Measure X Safe Routes to School program in Seaside and Marina. And we were really pleased to have that plan come to fruition. And now we're applying for grant applications for it. And you know, she's championed increasing transportation services as well for seniors and persons with disabilities. Really appreciate her approach to the issue, her well thought out and reasoned contributions at the board of directors. And we're really going to miss you, Supervisor Parker.
Thank you, Supervisor Parker. Before I pass it to you, just on behalf as board chair, wanted to really recognize your many years of service and being one of the hardest working elected officials that I've come to know, and somebody who does her homework, really reads through the materials, asks really good questions always. In any role, in any board agency that you have served on, it was always good to see your thoroughness and your effective advocacy for your constituents and the people of Monterey County. This is the first, I think, starting of the ceremonies as you depart. But I think from all of us on the transportation and the trails and all of the many issues that you cared about, certainly want to express our appreciation for your work. And I know the community feels the same way. So with that, we'll pass it to you, Supervisor Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Ms. Hale, for the kind words and for the certificate of recognition. I will just mention that it's been 12 years, not 11, as the certificate says. I want to thank TAMC staff for your professionalism. This organization is just really well run. And it's been a pleasure serving on this board. And one of the things about it is the regional view that we get. We advocate for our jurisdiction, our constituents, more narrowly perhaps, but one of the things that we really see is how a project that's good in our area has a ripple effect outward. And when there's a problem in a specific area, that problem ripples out as well. So part of what I think has made this board so effective over the years I've been here has been this recognition that what's good for one is good for all, but also sort of in maybe apparently small things, but really I think Debbie Hale really deserves a lot of credit for ensuring that we don't fall into more narrow jurisdictional disputes. And part of that has to do with really respecting the viewpoints of the people from all areas of the county, large jurisdictions and small jurisdictions. And that's shown in the way that we're treated in the board, the executive committee rotation, and also ensuring that projects don't just go to the biggest among us. So that's been something that I've seen over the years, and I think that's helped contribute to a real sense of teamwork and collegiality on this board, and that we will advocate with and for each other as well as for our own jurisdictions. And as has been mentioned, I've been very active because of this interrelatedness. I've been very active in the area of active transportation because that has implications not just for how people sound, but it has implications for air quality. It has implications for our health. When we live in walkable communities, we tend to walk more. And instead of making it harder to use active forms of transportation, walking and biking, we can make it easier. And that helps everyone. And it has a disproportionately positive impact on people in some of the poorer communities. So anyway, it's all interrelated, and I just love that part about the work that I've been doing over the last 12 years. And I think I didn't realize how much of a nexus there was in the transportation world, but it didn't take long to see that transportation and how we think about it, how we design our streets, how we get around really has a huge impact on the well-being of our individual communities and the county as a whole, and for our planet. So thanks everyone. I've really enjoyed being part of this board and watching how well and thoughtfully this organization operates. Thanks.
Thank you, Supervisor Parker. Let's give her a virtual round of applause, please. Thank you, Supervisor Parker. Thank you for all your many years of public service again. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to go on to Mayor Maria Orozco, I think. Debbie, comments on that?
Yes. Mayor Orozco has been with the TAMC Board of Directors since 2007. She served as our board chair in 2011. And she really was a leader in bringing Line 23 transit service to Monterey County. That's the service between Salinas and the South County cities. You may, if you've been around that long, you may or may not remember that TAMC played a key role in that, because we allocate the Transportation Development Act funding that used to go to cities, and some of the cities and the county, for local roads and streets instead of transit, even though it's transit first funding. And she told me when we were chatting, in fact, that was her first foray into local political issues. And boy, it's just made such a huge difference in the mobility for folks in South County. But I also want to recognize the fact that she's been mayor of what I call the little city that could. Gonzales has just done some fantastic things, some of them more community oriented, but certainly with regards to transportation. Gonzales hosted a CTC visit a couple of years ago that lives on in the memory of the California Transportation Commissioners, because they got to tour the Taylor Farms cooler and wear the little hats and such, and it was a real bonding experience. But it also showed a united community that came out and said, we need Highway 101 to be safer. And her city did a fantastic job of hosting that event. She's also worked with her staff and kind of been a partner with her city manager on doing the loan for actually what I believe was the first major Measure X project that happened. I guess King City also had a Measure X, but they rebuilt their Main Street, Alta Road, and they did it by coming to TAMC and saying, any chance we can get a loan for this? And we said, well, you're a small city and you're the first one to ask, and we want to get projects out there. And the board took a look at it and said, hey, let's do it. This is just the kind of innovation that Gonzales has become known for. And from the wind farm to the internet citywide, to getting their major Measure X project done before anybody else. And I know that Mayor Orozco has been instrumental in all those efforts, and I'm really gonna miss having her around. So thank you so much for your service on TAMC.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you. And I know there's some people want to comment. We'll leave all the comments until we do all 4 presentations. But Mayor Orozco, also as chair, want to really recognize your many years of service and really showing the many great things even a small rural city can do, from the many youth programs that you won awards for on behalf of your city, and to the extending broadband, which is the hot topic these days. It took many years, but a small city like Gonzales accomplished that. And now it's a talking point up in Sacramento of what we should be doing in many other cities throughout the state. So certainly when we reflect on your many years of public service, there's a lot of great things on your record, and certainly want to recognize that today. It is sad to see you go, but I know you will continue to serve in many other capacities, but we appreciate your hard work for so long, and certainly the service here on TAMC. With that, we'll pass it to you, Mayor Orozco.
Thank you, Chair. And I just want to thank Debbie and the staff and the board for your many years of leadership and guidance to really make sure that our city has become a safer city, And also South County has become a safer, South County as a whole. And yes, I will continue to work. I am already working on various projects that we will be doing in the city of Gonzales and also for South County residents as well. I just was recently appointed to serve on Catholic Charities as one of their board members. So I will continue to work, especially during these very challenging times that we face and that many of our small businesses face and our agricultural workers face, as was previously mentioned. So I will continue to serve my community in whatever capacity that I can. So once again, thank you. And I wish you all the very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Orozco. And we give her a round of applause virtually.
Thank you.
Thank you. Last one for.
And our last but not least, the man in black, Robert Hewitt. You may not know this. I have a special relationship with Robert because he was the first board chair when I started here at TAMC. And he came back, did double duty, and also served as chair again last year. He started on the board even before his chairmanship in February 1995. We had to really go back into the archives to find out when he had started. He took a little break and then served again a second tenure from 2013 until 2020. Robert has always been a strong advocate for pedestrian safety. He was the impetus behind the Pacific Grove Highway 68 corridor study, which we're still working on trying to get funding for, and still working on trying to get Caltrans to maybe help with some walkability improvements. So maybe with the new administration leadership of Tokes Omashakin, that'll pan out. But he was working on walkability way back when we had our congestion mitigation air quality funding. I remember he was a strong advocate for Congress Avenue, and often we talked about, why do projects take so long, even if it's just a sidewalk? And I know why they take so long, but it's not a good answer. Robert's always made some very thoughtful comments at the board meetings. He's always thinking of, how can we approach this in a way that is going to build a coalition, but respect, active transportation needs and the environment, but also make sure that we're including the public in the discussion. And I always appreciate that. With that, Robert, it's very, very bittersweet time for me, but I know that with you retiring, you're on to a new phase of life, and you sound very excited about it. We really thank you for your service to TAMC.
Yeah, Robert, certainly want to also express my appreciation for all your many years of public service, but also just being one of the hardest working TAMC board members, a man who's really passionate about transportation, about the projects that we move forward in all parts of the county, and on serving with you on your leadership as past board chair really showed that you cared about all parts of Monterey County, from the peninsula to Salinas, North County and South County. Your comments were always very thoughtful and inclusive, and the other elected officials in the room watch that and recognize it, and we appreciate how you carry yourself in terms of your public service to the community. So it is a sad day to see you leave us, but again, we hope to work with you in other capacities, and just want to pass it to you and share a few words with us.
Thank you, Chair Alejo, and thank you, Debbie. Thank you both for your kind words. I also want to add my thanks to Senator Monning. I know he's gone now from the meeting, but I also and my community all appreciate Senator Monning's years of outstanding service to our region and to the state of California. A word about the boutonniere. It was given to me yesterday by my wife, Jan, and I have a suspicion that she did that so I would not forget to thank her. So thank you, Jan, for your help and support. When I was first appointed to TAMC as a newly elected council member in 1995, I found the assignment pretty daunting. a lot of things have changed since then. And if anything, there's even more to learn as a new board member. After all, most of us don't come onto this board with a background and expertise in transportation planning or funding. But the good news is that this organization has an outstanding staff of professionals who know their stuff and are always ready, willing, and able to help us board members, us amateurs, with the understanding we need to make the policy decisions. And this is something that I want to impress on the person who replaces me, who will be appointed at the council meeting tonight. The second thing I'd like my replacement to appreciate is something that has already been alluded to by Supervisor Parker and by Senator Monning. And that's that the TAMC governance structure is truly regional, that every jurisdiction in Monterey County has a seat at the table, all 12 cities and all 5 supervisorial districts. So being a TAMC board member means having an opportunity to expand your perspective, transcend parochialism by paying attention to what other board members are saying and what their concerns are and the concerns of their constituents. And at the same time, having a seat at this table gives us an opportunity to bring our own local community's concerns to the attention of a regional body. So I'm grateful I've had those opportunities, and I'm proud to have been a part of this agency and all of your good work. So thanks to you all, and all of my best wishes.
Thank you, Mr. Hewitt. Everybody give you a round of applause. So thank you for your comments. I also wanted to just to say a few words about Scott Davis, who wasn't able to join us here today, but I certainly wanted to recognize his dedication to serving the people of Salinas and Monterey County. He was one of the few, if not the only, Asian American council members in Monterey County, one of the few, very few openly gay elected officials in all the county. And so having certainly those diverse voices and perspectives at tables and at agencies such as TAMC were important. And I certainly appreciated working with him on a lot of projects in East Salinas, representing hardworking people, including moving forward the regional soccer complex in the heart of the community. So just wanted to thank him, even though he's not with us, to really express our appreciation for his public service and dedication to the people of Monterey County. With that, I got a few hands up, so we can start with Carl Sadork. If you can make your comments brief, please.
I will. Thank you, Chair. I want to thank everyone who is being honored here today for their past support of MST, both in policy and practice, and their supports of important funding items. We mentioned SB1, we mentioned Measure X, but also Measure Q. I particularly want to point out Mayor Orozco, who Debbie mentioned line 23, which initially only went to Gonzalez through Mayor Orozco's leadership and her advocacy. And it was shortly thereafter that it was extended through the rest of the cities. And Mayor Orozco volunteered to be an ex officio member of the MST board. She would come all the way up to Monterey without even getting a vote every month for a number of years. And then eventually, after we became a district, Mayor Orozco was the first board member from the South County to become chair. And we certainly appreciated her leadership during that time. So thank you all for your help and assistance, and especially to you, Mayor Orozco. We will definitely miss you. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Ed Smith, and then Alejandro Chavez.
Thank you very much. I just want to make some comments to recognize Robert Hewitt's substantial service and leadership. Being that City of Monterey is a neighbor of Pacific Grove, I have a special fondness for Robert. and I really appreciate everything he's offered and counsel and conversations and the things that we've got to work on together. Many of you know that I am a former resident of Pacific Grove and high school graduate of Pacific Grove, so special place in my mind for Robert and Pacific Grove's leadership team. Look forward to seeing you, Robert, in your new choices. I'm sure you're not going to just sit down and flat retire and play golf and read books all day long. You'll find something that's going to be very meaningful, and I'm sure that we'll all get to see you at many of those activities. But thank you very much for being such a good neighbor and being able to share counsel. And as a new guy that came on board 6 years ago, you were one of the first people I latched on to see how things go, and you were a great mentor for me, and I would vote for you as president. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Ed Smith. Let's go to Alejandro Chavez and then Mayor Labar.
Just really quickly, thank you, Chair Alejo. I just want to thank Scott Davis for just for how thoughtful he was in the way he proceeded in representing the city of Salinas and his dedication for the city of Salinas, and really looking at those active transportation projects and moving those forward and assisting, the residents in Salinas. And I wanted to thank also Robert Hewitt. In 2001, I came on to the TAMC board as an alternate in District 1, and just seeing what the end of this tumultuous kind of TAMC meetings, it was kind of the end of that, and we could still feel that curtain that was happening between the peninsula and the Salinas Valley cities. And I think Robert, through the process over the years, was one of those persons who kind of helped ease that and really changed the way of the feel of TAMC to make it feel as a regional organization. And of course, staff helped completely along the way, but I wanted to specifically thank Robert for that, because he really did do a lot to help and ease those tensions that were happening for many years. In addition to this, I want to thank Maria Orozco, because Maria has been a champion for South County, a champion for transportation, a champion for everything that has to do with us. I think Carl mentioned the MST line 23. That's something that happened early on, and Maria was crucial to that. But a lot of the projects that have moved forward and that are still continuing to move forward have a lot to do with Maria. So I want to thank her. So thank you to all of you and everybody who served on this board that are leaving. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Mayor Labar.
It's really like what I said about Senator Monning, the leadership in this area, the quality of the representatives. I am continually amazed by and very appreciative to be able to work with you. All of you have done such a great job. I've learned a lot from Robert, a lot from Maria. Scott was great to work with on the Rail Policy Committee. As Senator Monning said about the quality of this agency, everyone from such diverse backgrounds and perspectives and opinions, but still come together and work together very, very well. It must be a Central Coast thing. So sorry to see all of you leave, but it has been a pleasure to work with you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mike. Seeing no other board members, I'm just going to open this up for any members of the public. If you would like to make any comments on these certificates, if you could push the participants button, push the raise your hand option, and you will be recognized. See none? Okay, if we could just give everyone one last round of a virtual round of applause to all our 4 honorees. Thank you all for your service.
Mr. Chair, do you need a motion to adopt?
Oh, yes, I do. So we do have to do a motion to approve. So we'll take a motion.
I'd move adoption of comment briefly.
This is Al. Second.
Okay, moved by Mayor Potter, seconded by Councilmember Kerr.
Is that for Monning and the rest of us?
Yes, exactly. It includes all adoptions. Thanks, Jane. Luis, if I might just for one moment, I think Alejandro did a very good job of referencing the past of this agency and attempt to parochialize our own interests. When I was first on the agency quite a while ago, it was the coast against the valley, it was the cities against the county. That's changed over the course of time, and the people that are departing have been leaders in that area to realize that the visiting public, the traveling public, doesn't recognize jurisdictional boundaries, and that together we do better to argue for our issues together collectively instead of fighting for little pieces of the pie. So I'm sorry to see you guys go. You've been good allies, you've been good friends, but we need to keep together and work forward with unity, not division. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Potter. So the motion will include approving item number 4, the certificate for Senator Monning, and the certificates on that were just presented on item number 5. It was moved by Mayor Potter and Councilmember Kerr. With that, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Okay. District 1, Supervisor Alejo.
Aye.
District 2, Supervisor Phillips.
Aye.
District 3, Supervisor Lopez.
Aye.
District 4, Supervisor Parker.
Aye.
District 5, Supervisor Adams.
From Anderson.
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Aye.
City of Delray Oaks.
Aye.
City of Gonzales.
Aye.
City of Greenfield.
Aye.
City of King City.
Aye.
City of Marina.
Aye.
City of Monterey.
Aye.
City of Pacific Grove.
Aye.
City of Salinas. City of Sand City. City of Seaside.
Aye.
City of Soledad.
Aye.
Chair, the motion passes with 15 and 2 absent.
Thank you very much, Eloise. We'll go to item numbers. We have 2 items on the regular agenda. So we'll go to item number 6, receive a presentation on the US 101 business plan development process and provide input to Caltrans.
Chair, this is Rich Deal, and this presentation is going to be given by Kelly McClendon from Caltrans District 5 Office of Planning.
Okay, and I believe Scott Eads is going to kick it off with a brief introduction.
Thank you, Debbie. Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'm Scott Eads here with Caltrans, and I just want to say a couple words as introduction to this item. First of all, we appreciate the opportunity to provide an overview of the 101 business plan. It's an effort that's being led by Caltrans, but the genesis for the plan really came through the work of the Central Coast Coalition, which you'll hear more about, and you're probably very aware of. At a very high level, this plan will clarify the importance of 101 as a lifeline for Central Coast communities and freight travel and interregional travel in and out of our region. And then also make a business case for prioritizing funding on 101 and the critical importance of 101 to our region. So with that super brief introduction, Kelly McClendon and Vanessa Fall, who are here from our systems planning branch at Caltrans, have some great information to share with you, and I'll turn it over to them. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you everyone for having us here today. We're really happy to be here and share this with you. So I think Scott already provided a good brief introduction, but I'll talk a little bit more about this. Our US 101 business plan follows the model of the Central Valley State Route 99 business plan. And this plan showcased the importance of the State Route 99 corridor and identified investment needs prior to Proposition 1B in 2006, which ultimately provided $1 billion in bonds for State Route 99 improvements. So the purpose of our plan is to provide the data, strategy, and community support needed to secure financial investments in the US 101 corridor. And I'll just briefly talk a little bit about the Central Coast Coalition too. If you're not already familiar with them, the Central Coast Coalition members are the MPOs and RTPAs of the Central Coast region and Caltrans District 5. And the Central Coast Coalition formed to raise the awareness of the US 101 corridor within the boundaries of our Caltrans District 5 district. So awareness of the US 101 corridor as a major economic asset to the state and nation, and encourage investment on the corridor. With that said, I'll jump to the next slide. So this might be the first time some of you are hearing about a business plan, so this first slide will hopefully help provide a better understanding. The key difference between the business plan and a traditional corridor plan is the focus on developing a financial strategy. The business plan will state the total funding need, explore funding sources, and link priority transportation projects to potential funding programs. And additionally, the business plan uses research from previous corridor plans. Here it is important to note that we're not adding any new projects, and we're only using projects that have already been identified. And I already mentioned this, but I'd like to emphasize that Caltrans District 6 had created the Central Valley State Route 99 business plan, and our plan follows their model, and we hope our plan will provide a medium to communicate with policymakers, partners, and the public. Okay, this map shows the Caltrans District 5 counties and US 101 highlighted in different colors. In our district, US 101 expands all the way from the Santa Barbara Ventura County line to the San Benito Santa Clara County line. As this is a very long stretch with different needs like urban versus rural areas, we divided the stretch into 11 segments based on traffic flow characteristics and land use patterns. And the different colors on the map represent the different segments. On this slide, you can see a zoomed in map of Monterey County and its 4 business plan segments. And I did list out the segment limits on the slide, but you can also find them all on our business plan website, which I will link to in the chat box. And with that said, Kelly will go over the next slide.
Good morning, everyone. And Vanessa, I just placed the link in the chat box.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the charter that we developed with the coalition partners, and I wanted to thank Debbie Hale and her leadership, and Todd Muck as well from TAMC in helping us to get on the right path right away. And that was in the form of this charter, which we did about this time last year. This charter outlined our major goals and objectives that we wanted to achieve in this business plan, and it established a commitment as a region for what this plan will be. And Caltrans is leading the development of it and the legwork of it, but it's really it's a true partnership, and it's being done in the guidance of the Central Coast Coalition as the steering committee. As Vanessa mentioned, the business plan won't be a technical plan in that it won't develop new projects or identify new needs for the corridor. We know as a region that the corridor has been planned very well, and a lot of the needs and projects are well defined and known, so we don't need to recreate the wheel and redo work that's already been visited in the past. So specifically, the TAMC Monterey County Regional Transportation Plan will serve as a foundational document, and the key projects that are identified in the Regional Transportation Plan will be carried forward into the business plan, and then by being in the business plan will be identified as a US 101 priority. The intended outcomes that I referenced in the charter are, there's multiple outcomes. Here are some of the most important ones. First, the input to plans. Transportation planning is a continuing process, and the business plan is similar to all planning, where we're drawing from our foundational documents, but we also want to inform future plans, especially statewide plans that establish priorities for corridors in the state. And some of the key ones that we're interested in putting into is the California Transportation Plan, the Interregional Transportation Plan, Interregional Transportation Strategic Plan, and the California Freight Mobility Plan. We want these statewide plans to recognize US 101 as being one of the most strategic corridors in the state. And then, of course, priorities for future investment. It's important for us to showcase to decision makers that fund these future investments that we have a joint commitment as a region And we think that that will help us put ourselves in good positions for US 101 projects to compete for SB1 discretionary programs or federal programs such as infra and build.
So we went through an extensive process of looking at all of our partners' regional transportation plans and other planning documents to help us boil it down to these 5 goal areas on the slide. They are safety and health, sustainability and climate change, economy, mobility, and equity. It was really important to us to make sure that our partners fully take ownership over these goals and that our goals align with Executive Orders N1919 and N7920. This means that we're supporting the state's climate goals and are also pushing for the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions and of vehicle miles traveled. And we are also supporting the transition to zero emission vehicles. And on our website, you can also find our fact sheet, which lists all of these goals and their objectives. And before I go into the slide, I do want to mention that the business plan will only include transportation projects and it won't be including any land development projects. And with that said, the slide right here links our priority project types to the goals from the previous slide. And this is following the State Route 99 business plan model. And our 5 project types are really important as they will help us accomplish our goals. The first one is operational improvements and conflict point reduction projects. Moving on, the next project type would be alternative fuel charging stations and air pollutant reduction projects, freight and goods movement improvements, freeway conversion and new interchanges, and then lastly, bike ped transit and park and ride improvements. And the slide is really important and there are 2 big questions for you here. Number 1 is, what are your region's priorities? And number 2, we do want to make sure everything is captured correctly. So are there any other priority project types that we should be including here? So maybe after we're done presenting, we can go back to the slide and hear some of your thoughts about this. So this slide shows the different stakeholders that we have been or will be engaging with. And just to put this into perspective, I'll mention who we have been collaborating with from the Monterey region. For the steering committee, that would be Debbie Hale from the Transportation Agency for Monterey County. For the technical advisory committee, that'd be the TAMC TTAC. Focus groups, we will be hosting our first focus group next week, and Kelly will be talking about that in the next slide. And then lastly, this group right here falls into the board category. We hope to receive some feedback from you. And with that said, I'll hand it to Kelly to talk about our upcoming focus groups.
Our focus group will be next week, next Tuesday at 1 p.m. And we want to discuss from other partners and stakeholders what some major challenges, trends, and priorities are. We want to get a diverse range of views and opinions and thoughts. And just to kind of name a few, I don't have a full list right here, but we have invitees from the agricultural sector, land trust, Chamber of Commerce's, CHP, truckers associations, cities and transit agencies, colleges, the Measure X Citizens Committee, the Agricultural Commission, farm organizations, rural organizations, and the South of Salinas Safety Alliance. So, and others. So it's important for us to have this plan guided, not just from the coalition partners, but then also from a diverse range of organizations and interests, because in this region, US 101 is important for everybody, not just the transportation sector. Looking at our project schedule, up till now, we've been laying the groundwork. We've been doing a lot of the behind the scenes, gathering data, collecting existing conditions, and getting all the information that we need to move forward. Looking ahead, starting with next week's focus group and this presentation as well, over the next few months, we'll be doing a heavy public engagement and partner engagement effort to spread the word and collect input and information. And we are planning to finish up the plan in next spring, hopefully March or April. We'll have a comprehensive report that depicts the priorities and strategies and projects, as well as details the information we collect during the public engagement. Vanessa and my email and phone numbers are here. Please jot this down. We'd be happy if we'll open it up to questions here and comments here. If something comes up later, feel free to contact us at any time. We really do want to have this guided from our partners and the elected leadership in the region. And then the website is also posted in the chat as well as here. And thank you once again for inviting us here today. We're really happy to bring this information to the TAMC board. And with that, I'll take any questions.
All right, I think there's somebody playing some music in the background for some reason.
I'm sorry, that's probably me. I'll try to mute when I'm not talking. Sorry about that.
We've been hearing it during your comments, but I thought it was part of the presentation. There you go. Okay, let's open it up for questions. Does anybody have any comments on the business plan? We'll start with Carl Sidori.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just briefly, Kelly and team, I'd encourage you to reach out to Monterey Salinas Transit and have some discussions regarding our future vision for bus rapid transit projects along the Highway 101 corridor and some recent studies that we've completed regarding that. Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Supervisor Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick question. When it says that you'll be working on the financial plan or whatever, is that, I imagine that is how the different projects and work it might get funded. Is that what it is? Or is it about how this is going to have a positive financial impact on the region?
It's really the former. It's lining up priority projects with potential funding sources or identified funding sources. So that's what we think of as the financial plan. In addition to that, we do want to connect. We will have performance measures that connect it. You saw that one of our goals is the economy. So not necessarily in the financial plan, but we will try to showcase the economic benefit in terms of measures such as jobs is one of the ones that we're thinking of.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? If you could raise your hand. I see no other comments. Okay, let's take this out to the public. Is there any members of the public who would like to speak to this 101 business plan? All right. See none. Let's bring it back. Does TAMC staff have any last comments on this item?
We'll just continue to keep you posted on this.
Okay. Well then, thank you very much. This was just a presentation and provide input. Thank you very much for the presentation, and we will close this item and go to item number 7. Thank you to all the folks who presented on the business plan. I appreciate it. Let's go to item number 7, the Fort Ord Building Demolition Joint Procurement Agreement with Monterey Salinas Transit.
Thank you, Chair. This is Mike Zeller. I'm a Principal Transportation Planner with the agency. So I will be sharing my screen here in 1 second to give you an update on the staff's request for joint procurement agreement with Monterey Salinas Transit for building demolition on the former Fort Ord properties. So just to start with a quick overview here, TAMC owns 7 properties out on the former Fort Ord area, and these are primarily between 1st Avenue and Highway 1 and 5th and 8th Streets. These are all older buildings, as you'll see a picture in a second. The buildings were for meat packing and for storage and warehousing. Adjacent to the TAMC property, as you can see just south, MST has also one property in that area as well. MST has another property out in the former Fort Howard area, but this is one that's close by to the TAMC properties near Highway 1. We did conduct a hazardous materials assessment. It was just a general assessment back in last year, which found, as you would expect, things like asbestos and lead-based paint, other universal waste, as well as contaminants from the overhead lighting. As you can see here, some of the picture of the buildings out there. They're rather in a dilapidated state, so it'd be nice to be able to bring these properties down. The way that this would be funded is prior to the dissolution of the Fort Howard Reuse Authority. They did issue bonds specifically for building removal. It was initially estimated that the amount of blight, total blight out in the former Fort Howard area was in the $50 to $60 million range. The bond that was secured brought in revenues of about just over $30 million. Of that amount, TAMC received 7%, so just over 1.3 million. And MST also received an amount of about $186,000 from that bond to use specifically for this building removal. So since TAMC and MST's properties are nearby, what we're looking to do is issue a single procurement to bring on a contractor to assist and conduct the demolition work. The idea is that this will save us with some cost and time, being able to just do a single procurement process where in this process, MST would take the lead in doing the procurement. MST has staff that has extensive experience in construction management and building demolition. So it's a great asset to TAMC to be able to partner with MST to conduct this work. The idea would be that when we issue the request for proposals for this work, that we ask that any bids that were received are sent in based on a per building cost, so that we can make sure that the funds that TAMC received from the building removal bond and the funds that MST received, that those go specifically towards our respective buildings. And then looking through this from the Fort Howard Reuse Authority's base reuse plan environmental impact report, this were building removals and activity that was covered in that EIR. So additional environmental certification wouldn't be necessary for this work. So looking ahead to the schedule, as I did mention, that this process would provide us with some time savings. We would be looking to move rather quickly to spend the funds and bring the buildings down. Looking at conducting a full hazardous materials survey at the beginning of the year, so that we can find out exactly how much and to what extent there is hazardous materials on the site, so that we can put that information into the bid documents that we would then publish in February. Looking then to award a contract and a notice to proceed in May of next year, and then beginning demolition in the summer. And conservatively looking at the building demolition taking about 2 months, so being able to get it done by the end of the summer. So with that, I just have the requested actions from the staff reports that were included in your agenda packet. So this would be to authorize the executive director to execute the joint procurement agreement to use the building removal bond funds that we received, and then also to allow the executive director to make any administrative changes if they don't change the net cost. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
And thank you. And certainly as we wrap up this year, it was this is one of those projects where we could look back and finally say some action is moving to demolish these old buildings that have been talked about a long time, but now we're able to actually move forward, and another example of partnership now with MST to find those efficiencies cost savings and be able to do this project together with another agency. I think it's another good example for us to show that we're moving good work forward and doing it in partnership with other sister agencies. So let's can we hear from Carl Sidor, since he's our partner on this as well, and then we'll open it up for questions and comments.
I would just like to thank the TAMC staff and Debbie and her team for working with us on this. This is something that MST staff, as was previously mentioned, has the experience and ability to pull this off without overtly stressing our capabilities. We'll have no issues managing this project and look forward to bringing this blight down. It is not only an issue for the view shed, but it is a public safety hazard in their current condition. And there's a lot of activities like illegal dumping and things that go on in and around these buildings that will be improved if we can pull these down, and will be also helpful in our future bus rapid transit busway surf project. This will help that project as well move along. So thank you.
Great. I forgot to ask Michael, Mr. Zeller, the funding, at least on our portion, it was mentioned that it's not going to cover all the buildings that are on the TAMC property. There's a priority, right, of what projects or what buildings would go first, and try to stretch those dollars. Could you just elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure. The idea is to see how the bids come in and see how competitive they are, and then to bring down as many of the buildings as possible. There are both wooden structures as well as concrete. I believe the priority would be to bring down the wooden structures, since they would be the less expensive, and then to do as much of the concrete structures as possible.
And how many buildings are, you said a total 8?
TAMC has a total of 7.
7, great. Okay, let's go to Supervisor Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was going to ask the question of how far do we think the money is going to go? So you asked that, and we have the answer. Of course, we don't know exactly, but I guess I could ask, do you have any sense for, half the buildings, maybe 2/3, or you just have to wait and see on the bids?
I think we'll have to definitely wait and see. I think initial estimates going based on demolition costs that FORA had done, based on a per square foot basis. I think the initial estimate that we had received from FORA was that it would take about $3 million to bring down all of our buildings. But we'll see how, with the competitive environment, how well the bids come in. So it might go a little bit further than that.
That's great. I hope so. And it's just a shame that the PERS liability is eating up such a big chunk of that money. But there you are. Thanks.
Okay, other questions or comments on this? I see no hands raised. I'm going to take it out to the public. Do any members of the public have any comments on this item? If you could raise your hand on the participants button at the bottom of the screen, and then you'll be recognized to speak for a couple of minutes. See none? Okay, we can bring this back for a motion. This is to authorize the executive director to enter into an agreement not to exceed the $1,303,498 with Monterey Salinas Transit.
I'll so move, making it $1 million.
Second. Oh, I'm sorry, wait a minute. Jane, were you saying $1 million, or were you saying the agenda recommendation?
The agenda recommendation.
Okay, thank you. I'll second that.
Okay, moved by Director Parker, seconded by Director Smith. If there's no further comment, we'll do a roll call vote.
District 1, Supervisor Alejo.
Aye.
District 2, Supervisor Phillips.
Aye.
District 3, Supervisor Lopez.
Aye.
District 4, Supervisor Parker.
Aye.
District 5, Supervisor Adams.
From Anderson.
City of Carmel by the Sea.
Aye.
City of Del Reyes.
Aye.
City of Gonzales.
Aye.
City of Greenfield.
Aye.
City of King City,
Aye.
City of Marina,
Aye.
City of Monterey,
Aye.
City of Pacific Grove,
Aye.
City of Salinas, City of Sun City, City of Seaside,
Aye.
City of Soledad.
Aye.
Chair, the motion passes 15 with 2 absent.
Thank you. Good work on that, and look forward to getting reports back on when the bids come in and how many buildings will I be able to take down. I think that's I think all the directors would like to get an update when that comes around. So thank you for that, everyone. And let's go to item number 6 now. The received reports from our transportation providers, and we'll start with our Caltrans director's report and project update. Mr. Eads.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members of the board, again, Scott Eads. I'm the Deputy Director for Transportation Planning and Local Assistance in District 5. I have a few items to share with you today. First, of course, I need to highlight the exciting news about the SB1 recommendations and the fact that the Casperville Boulevard Interchange was recommended or is recommended for $20 million in funding. And we appreciate the ongoing partnership between TAMC and Caltrans on that project. That's exciting news. Also want to highlight that there's a few other projects in District 5 that were recommended for funding. One is in San Luis Obispo County on State Route 46 East, $7.3 million to continue the work for the widening that's occurring there, which is, of course, is another big interregional corridor for east-west travel. And then also Santa Cruz received a funding recommendation for their multimodal corridor on Highway 1 and transit improvement project for $92.8 million. So exciting news here in District 5. And today is the day when the commission, the CTC, is entertaining turning those recommendations into action. So hopeful that that will go as planned. Next, I wanted to highlight an award. Caltrans has a Excellence in Transportation Award, an annual award event. And this year they just released those a couple weeks ago. And for 2020, there's a rural highway category that Caltrans District 5 received an award for, and that is on Highway 1, just south of the Monterey County line. It was the Piedras Blancas realignment project, which realigned a section of Route 1 that was experiencing bluff erosion due to ocean encroachment. And so we moved the highway about up to about 500 feet inland. And the design really was engineered to fit the topography and really fit in with the landscape. There was a significant amount of mitigation that also occurred in terms of wetlands and reestablishing coastal prairie, native planting, and screening of roadside development. And there was also a contribution for the California Coastal Trail. So great project, and it's nice to be recognized for that. And then the final thing I wanted to highlight is that Caltrans is embarking on another study to assess the potential for road charging. So we're another research project. Caltrans is seeking 150 volunteers statewide to continue the research. We're looking for a sustainable long-term way to fund transportation infrastructure. And so with the advent of more and more vehicles that are zero emission and not using fuel, which is our primary funding source, that's a diminishing funding source, as you very well know. So this is an opportunity to study that further and see what types of techniques and tools will help come up with ways to make road charging a viable process in the future. And there is a little incentive that participants will be eligible for up to $100 in incentive for their time and feedback that they provide. If you're interested in more information, you can go to, let's see here, it is caroadcharge.com, and there's information there that also allows you to sign up if you're interested. That's all I have. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Eads, and we look forward to hopefully getting some good news later today that the projects were approved per your recommendation at the Transportation Commission. So thank you though for your advocacy and looking out for local projects in your district. It's very much appreciated by all of us. So thank you for that good news. Any questions for Mr. Eads on this? See none. Let's go to Monterey Airport, Mr. Sabo.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman, for this opportunity to do some shameless advertising for the airport, which, you know, I want to remind everybody, this is an essential transportation mode and we are grateful to be a contributor as a ex officio member on the Transportation Agency's board. We had the Thanksgiving episodes here where we saw a tremendous number of people coming through, more than we expected, through the Monterey Airport. Dr. Fauci hasn't been doing us any favors by recommending you don't go anywhere on an airplane, but I want to assure everybody that in my look at it, and the staff's look at it, the airlines that operate out of Monterey are doing a tremendous job of sanitizing these airplanes and doing a good job of that. And I also want to remind everybody that we've got a lot of nonstops to Dallas, San Diego, Phoenix, Denver, and these are not only nonstop destinations, but they're also good connecting points. And the fares are very reasonable, but they are increasing. So if you're plan doing some airline travel, book them now, because the fares are starting to creep up. But they're still better or equal to that other airport up the road there on Highway 1. Things that are happening at the airport, we now have a new flight information display. The flight schedules and all that are now, you're able to read them without binoculars. And I'm particularly appreciative of that. And we're installing 4 new electric car charging stations here, and we're kind of proud of that, and we intend to keep that kind of a program going forward. So thank you very much for the opportunity to share anything. Anybody got any questions? I'm glad to answer those.
Thank you, Mr. Sabo, for your report, and also for always a good promotion of the Monterey Airport. I do want to just remind all our board members to pay attention at 12 o'clock, the governor's press conference today. It's an important one because it's reported that he will announce another shelter-in-place order that might take effect tomorrow, and it's going to start with a 3-week period. What it includes, its impact on schools, on airlines, that's all yet to be announced and disclosed, but certainly an important one today to watch. So I encourage you to go to YouTube and look and see that. Let's go to MST, Carl Sadori.
Thank you, Chair. Just have some good news, some sad news, and just some news. Real quickly, Caltrans was mentioning awards. Proud to announce that MST received our California State Transit Association's award for innovation and resiliency for our pandemic response plans and how we implemented those. So it was an honor on behalf of the hardworking people of MST to accept that on their behalf, and thank our board of directors for providing us with that direction. That's the great news. The sad news is that 20-year employee, our Chief Operating Officer, Robert Weber, who has for his many years has wanted to retire to the city of Sedona, to the area of Sedona, Arizona, and has posters on his wall in his office. I'm reminding him of that. Was actually offered, and he accepted the first ever transit administrator's job for the city of Sedona. So he will have the opportunity to set up for his retirement, but will be building the first ever transit system for the Red Rock Canyon area of Sedona. So it's an exciting opportunity for him. I'm a little bit jealous, but that's a great way for him to move into his retirement. So I want to wish Robert well in that. And then finally, I want to remind any members of the public and officials that there's still time to complete our South County Planning Survey. We're looking at some changes to our services in the South County cities, and residents and those who are interested can pick up surveys at the city halls in Gonzales, Soledad, Greenfield, King City, or at the Salinas Transit Center, or you can visit www.mstcommunitysurvey.com to take the survey today. But time is running out. We do need to get community input, and that's a somewhat difficult thing to do in these days of virtual meetings. So please take the survey so that we can consider that in our future plans for South County. Thank you.
And Carl, wanted to also recognize the good work you did on election day by providing free, MST providing free bus fares for people so they could get to the polls. I mean, that wasn't seen in very many other areas of the state, but MST is always a leader, and wanted to certainly thank you for that. And we had a record number of voter turnout this year because of efforts like yours, and making it easier for voters to go and cast that fundamental right of their vote. So the other thing I wanted to recognize was yesterday, the first time I've seen transport agency provide free bus fare in recognition of Rosa Parks, who I think 65 years ago yesterday refused to go to the back of the bus, and that resulted in the Montgomery boycotts and then the Supreme Court case that struck down segregated busing. And so in honor of her, MST provided free bus fares yesterday to everyone throughout Monterey County. So another shining example of leadership. So thank you, Carlos Sedorg, on that.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's go to Monterey Bay Air Resources District, Mr. Stedman. Is he with us today?
I don't think he's with us today.
Okay, well, we'll have to wait to the next meeting then for his report. Okay, let's do any reports on meetings attended by board members at transportation. Well, let me see, is there any other questions by any of the folks who presented just now? Okay, see none, then we'll just go to any meetings attended by board members at transportation agency expense as required by state law. I don't think there's any this month. Let's go to executive director's report. Ms. Hale.
All right. Whoops. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I want to remind board members we still have a closed session at the end of the board meeting, so don't leave yet. So our farewells are not just limited to board members. We also have some staff members who are departing. Rich Deal, who's been our traffic engineer now for the last few years and has worked with all of your cities and the county to help them use the latest designs and technologies for their intersections and various projects, is actually going to be retiring. We were so pleased we were able to keep him a little bit longer because of COVID and work from home. And we see that he's got an active home life going on with the grandkids making periodic appearances into the staff meetings. He's going to be retiring and becoming a full-time grandparent and hopefully a traveler once the shelter at home becomes replaced. You may or may not know that Rich serves on a couple of different national committees, including the Transportation Research Board National Committee on Roundabouts. And so he really is a national resource that we've been so fortunate to have here. And he also serves on the a task force for manual for uniform traffic control devices. In the past, that was just traffic signals, but now the range of different devices has grown. And of course, a couple years ago, he received the American Public Works Association Excellence in Safety Transportation Award. So, you know, Rich first started his partnership with TAMC. Well, he started his partnership with TAMC way back. I think when we started working with our former director, Bill Reichmuth, and the Holman Highway, and the Ragsdale intersection project. But we really developed a true partnership with the Holman Highway Roundabout project, and which Rich was the lead advocate for through thick and thin. And TAMC Board helped to support that project through funding and through community outreach. And as you can see, it's been a great success in reducing collisions and facilitating mobility. And Rich was, really the leader in that project. He is particularly valuable to us at TAMC, where, we don't do a lot of engineering design work, but we do a lot of presentations on engineering traffic design work. And Rich is a great communicator and has been able to explain things to all of us that we wouldn't otherwise understand if he weren't such a great communicator. What you may not know is he's also been an excellent mentor to the junior staff in both his long career at the City of Monterey, which he started in 1994, as well as his career here at TAMC. So we're sorry that we're not able to persuade him to stay a little bit longer, but we feel grateful that he's been with us during this time. And we hope from time to time, maybe he'll pop in and give some advice on how things are going on our next major roundabout project, which is Highway 68. So Rich, thank you so much for coming to TAMC for your last few years in public service. And we wish you the best in your retirement.
Thank you, Debbie. It's been a lot of fun. This has been a really great place. TAMC is awesome. Staff's incredible. Leadership's incredible. The board's been great. I do want to give you a little back history, and that is, I first started attending TAMC meetings as the traffic engineer for City of Monterey, just staff support. And back then, Ed Smith was a sergeant on the police force and still had about the same amount of hair. But I really enjoyed this whole time. I do remember some key moments. I did serve on the TAMC board for Monterey back when we made the vote to move the money from Hatton Canyon up to the Prunedale 101 project, which was kind of a landmark thing. That was a long time ago. We've had a lot of really great innovations go through in Monterey and in the county. We were the first ones to put in countdown pedestrian heads back in 1996 or 7, way back then. We were the first ones in Monterey County to put in the rectangular rapid flashing beacons. Did that over at the Sports Center. We did a really cool project over on Ragsdale, where the business park was basically being strangled by Highway 68. So we did a widening and a signal, and that helped a lot. The great thing is when you're around for so long, the projects you did before start getting eclipsed by better projects later, like the roundabouts we have coming up on Highway 68, which is really awesome. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all those projects come to fruition. I've had a blast. My wife and I are going to travel, and we're going to, have a really, really fun time. So I'll still be around. So I'm looking forward to connecting with everybody as we move forward in the future. And thank you so much, Debbie and Todd, for just an awesome place to work. Favorite ever.
Thank you, Rich. Congratulations, and want to just really thank you on behalf of the other board members to really appreciate your expertise and your many years of service here, and just seeing your leadership at the national level, serving on these boards. It really shows your knowledge, and we're appreciative that you put it to good use here in Monterey County. So thank you for everything you've done. There's not much more we can ask from you, but certainly it's sad seeing you leave. But we appreciate you mentoring others to continue the good work you did for us for so long. So thank you, Rich.
All right, Mr. Chair, we also are saying goodbye to our TAMC counsel, Kay Ryman. And it's funny, I do a staff resolution of appreciation for our outgoing staff members, and it's kind of humorous, so I didn't share with the board. But I looked back, and Kay has left us before, but we were fortunate to be able to bring her back and have her help us out for the last few years as well. Kay has been working with TAMC, I say on and off, since July 2012. She really helped us, though, through a lot of major efforts. One of them being the Caltrans audit that we had and our response to the Caltrans audit. And I think she was really instrumental in helping us to reform our procurement policies in a way that met the regulations, but didn't strangle our ability to actually do projects. But she also helped us with a whole set of legal agreements relating to Measure X and setting up a process by which we can provide the funding to the cities and the county in a manner that is responsible and respects oversight, and yet still gives them the flexibility that the voters gave them in order to use the money the way that they see fit. Kay is always looking out for our best interest, even behind the scenes. She has a unique ability to see where we could possibly be sued. And I think that comes from her background in working with the county, because if something is possible to be sued on, I think the county gets sued on it. TAMC has been more fortunate because maybe we're a little smaller and we sneak through, but she certainly helped to represent us in the occasions when we actually have been sued for collisions that happen on the state highway system, which you might not think we would get sued for, but we do. Now, we've had all those cases dismissed, but Kay's been a key part of that, and also trying to get them dismissed early so that we don't spend a lot of money defending these things when we're just the planning and funding agency. You know, we're so appreciative of all of Kay's educational sessions. You might not know, but she gives us little educational sessions on training, on CEQA, on reminding us all the changes in the Brown Act, and then reminding us again on contractual things. But you know, her departure here just emphasizes her diligence. She has brought on Catherine Hansen, who you have met many months ago. We've had a really long transition time here because Kay has been training Catherine on who is TAMC, what do we do, and where are some of the you know, potential pitfalls that we need to watch out for as legal counsel. So I just want to thank Kay for all of her diligence, and also to have you help me welcome Catherine, who's going to be taking over as of the middle of December. So thank you so much, Kay, for all your service, and thank you for making the transition as smooth as possible.
Well, thank you. And, you know, I hate to be the bad penny. You know, I do come back from time to time, but this time my husband and I will be celebrating our 40th official anniversary in January, and his 91st birthday. So we'll be doing lots of fun things ourselves. And I'm going to echo Bill Monning and everybody else. This is one of the most professional and well-run, integrated, and thoughtful organizations I've ever had the pleasure to work with. And I know you will keep going in that way. And I feel confident, and I appreciate your ability and the county's ability to let me leave you in very good hands with Catherine. Because as you may know, there's an awful lot of institutional history involved in TAMC. And so Catherine has really stepped up to the plate, and she's gone forward with all of this. So you will see me from time to time because I just can't keep away. But I will be a spectator, but I really do appreciate working with all of you all of this time. It's a great experience for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for coming back, and you're always welcome to come back again. We can't ask any more from you as well. We appreciate your professionalism and always your sound legal advice and counsel. You kept us out of trouble, and helped us deal with the legal challenges that we do have before us. So we certainly appreciate you and all your work, and wish you and your husband many other fun next steps in your life. So thank you for losing a great Catherine, but we got another awesome Catherine coming on board, and we appreciate that transition to make it go seamless. And that was the collaboration between both of you. So thank you for leaving us in good hands. And I know our new Catherine will continue doing good work as you did for us for so long. So with that, we'll give one last round of applause to both Rich Dill and Catherine Ryman. Thank you so much.
All right. And Oh, Mr. Chair, just two quick items. If you have a great project or a great person in your area or someone that you think deserves special recognition, go on to tamcmonterey.org and fill out the awards nomination form. I believe those are due Friday. And TAMC offices have been closed, but none of us are going to be working or at least available to the public between Christmas and New Year's. So if you're looking to get in touch with us, then get in touch with us before then or after then. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for your report, Ms. Hale. Appreciate it. And thank you for recognizing our staff as they depart. Number 11, announcements or comments from TAMC members on any items they wish to put on the future agendas. I don't see any hands raised. So we have a closed session item to go to. We'll try to keep it brief, but let's first do public comments on our closed session items. There's 3 items listed on the agenda. And we'll give it a few seconds. If there's any members of the public who would like to comment on these items, if you could please raise your hand to be recognized to speak on them. If not, then our board members, we will go into closed session. If you could just hold on, and you will be transferred into a breakout room, and then we'll reconvene to adjourn this meeting afterwards. Okay, let's go to our council, Ms. Ryman, to do a readout out of closed session.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Pursuant to Government Code Section 56.9D1, the board did confer with legal counsel on existing litigation, the 3 cases noted, and gave direction to council. No further action was taken, no reportable action.
Thank you very much for that report. And with that, everyone, want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We won't see each other at this agency meeting till January. So wishing you and your loved ones the best holiday season. And please stay safe out there, celebrate and follow all the protocols. And God bless you all. We'll see you in January. Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Meeting adjourned.